Earlier this month, I got to visit Churchill, Manitoba, known as the polar bear capital of the world. It was a whirlwind trip. I was only on the ground for one day, but it was such an incredible bucket list moment that I never thought that I would ever get to experience growing up in Arizona. So just getting a chance to see polar bears, spend more time on the Arctic and be on the shores of the Hudson Bay was a phenomenal opportunity, and just super excited to show you guys all the clips and hopefully inspire you guys to want to visit Churchill also. My name is Sills-Trausch. I'm a hiker, photographer, just general outdoors lover, and I'm excited to take you along with me to Churchill. And then at the end, I'm going to dive into why Churchill is known for being the polar bear capital of the world, the best times to visit, potential costs, and how you can find your way up there. Let's settle in and go see some polar bears. From Denver, it is a 2-hour flight to Winnipeg, which is your launching off point. I stayed the night there right at the airport, and then from there the next morning hopped on a chartered flight to Churchill, and this is about a 2-hour flight also. And you are super far north, up on the shores of the Hudson Bay, place that has incredible history. It's been founded since the 1600s. So from there we hopped into a van, which then drove us to the tundra buggy. The tundra buggy is this massive vehicle that it basically looks like a tractor. It has massive wheels. It can go through water, mud, crazy terrain, and that is kind of what gets you out onto the tundra to see the polar bears up close. One thing to note is that in the area you have to have engines off basically within 100 yards, so that is 300 feet. But that doesn't mean that is how far away that you will be. We had polar bears coming right up to us. Well, really right up to the buggies in front of us, unfortunately. But we did have one walk right in front of us at the end, which was pretty cool. The majority of the time, the polar bears were out on the ice, a decent ways away. You'll see from my videos that they seem closer, and this is because I had a very long lens, and then I have cropped in. If you don't have a long lens, which is completely fine, you're going to want to bring binoculars, because if you don't, you are going to have a pretty hard time actually seeing them. If you take a look at this video, this kind of shows how far they really are out, away from you. But as I said, they could get closer, and there's a pretty good likelihood that they will. For our day tour, we spent about 4 hours with the bears. I was in a little bit of a unique experience because I was up there on a media trip with Polar Bears International and Frontiers North, showing off their new EV buggy. So we had part of the trip was kind of dedicated to the buggy, and then to learning more about Polar Bears International at their interpretive center in the town. So we probably got a couple hours less of polar bear watching than most people would if they do a day trip. But it was still an incredible experience, and I just want to take some time and show off all of these polar bear clips that you guys will hopefully enjoy. So if you guys didn't notice, I am wearing my new Churchill polar bear shirt. When I saw it in the airport before leaving, I was like, I have to get this, and very worth it. So now I want to dive into kind of like what you need to know to travel to Churchill, when to go, and kind of all the other important questions that you might have. So one, polar bear season is traditionally middle of October through the middle of November. Most companies will not run tours past like November 17th-ish, though that will kind of fluctuate. And this is because traditionally the sea ice has formed and the bears are long gone, hunting for seals and really catching up on all the food that they haven't eaten since about June. This year, however, and I just saw a recent update, the ice has not formed yet, and it is November 24th. So this is definitely a slower ice forming year, which means that the bears are at a higher risk for different malnutrition and different health issues, just because they really need to eat and they haven't been able to do so in many months. So that is kind of when you want to structure it. And now, so why is this polar bear capital of the world in Churchill? So the Hudson Bay will freeze over. It just does that, and it's because it's so far north and it is very cold. But what makes this area unique is that there are freshwater rivers flowing into the Hudson Bay near Churchill, and that water has a higher freezing temp. So when it mixes with the salt water from the bay, the freezing temperature is higher than it is elsewhere. So the bears have learned that this is what freezes earlier, and which allows them to get onto the ice and start hunting for seals. So in about mid-October, all the polar bears just start congregating on the shores, and you will see half a dozen, 25. It's kind of like unknown how many you will see, but you are 99.99% chance guaranteed to see polar bears. Our first encounter was like 5 minutes out from the airport, and we saw a mom and a cub right off the side of the road. It was a bit of a shock. Like, I wasn't really mentally ready to see a polar bear that fast, and it was like, holy smokes, we actually saw one. So that was awesome. And as we got out onto the tundra, we saw another 6 for 8 total. It was just a really cool, memorable experience. Now for the costs, and everything costs a lot when it comes to this. So once you get to Winnipeg, the tour costs then go into effect. And most tours cost around, or they start around 6,000 and they go up to 10 to 12,000 USD. That's even more in Canadian, and I'll let you do that conversion rate. But for, let's say, Frontiers North, they have a in-town option where you sleep in town and then you go out onto the tundra every day. That one costs about 6,000 to 6,500, and you get 2 full days with the bears, and then a day dog mushing, and then a day hanging out around town, going to museums and just kind of spending time in the area. But they have said that kind of most tourists get bored on day 3 of seeing bears. So that's kind of the more affordable option. They have a higher one where you stay at their lodge out at Polar Bear Point, and this is where there's a vast number of polar bears easily accessible. You're not having to drive in and out of the tundra, and this one costs $10,000 plus, and this is each. So for a couple, you're looking at 20,000. I know it's not super affordable, but if you have the money or you've been saving up to do a bucket list moment, this is it, and it is incredibly worth it. But it is a very expensive cost. Though it kind of makes sense. There are no roads into Churchill. You have to fly or you have to train, and just things cost more when you are having to transport things, and the town is only 800 strong, and they basically make their money for 3/4 of the season. They don't really have a spring tourism season, so they're really like having to make money in a very small time frame. If you have the money, it's worth it. If that is like a holy shit moment, I don't think that I can afford that. That is understandable. They do have a select day trip options. So it's kind of basically what I did. You fly in early one day, or like on your day, and then you leave that evening. So it's more affordable. It is $1,500 each, but that does not include your flight to Winnipeg. So you'll have to pay for that, which isn't too bad if you like do it in advance. So that is a thing to consider if you don't want to drop $12,000 to $20,000 for a couple. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that you kind of learned a little bit about polar bears and Churchill. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It supports my channel, and ask any questions you might have below in the comments. Take care, guys, and have a great day.